Hello friends, Jai Shri Ram. Today I am going to tell you how to maintain your insect killer. So this is an electric insect killer. I'll tell you how to take it apart and how to correct it if it is going wrong. See, first of all, how do you open it? So basically this part went like this part went like this, and both of these parts had four screws. Okay, so use any basic screwdriver and you should be able to open it. So I'm using this basic screwdriver with this kind of a end. Okay, then I opened both these parts. After that, what happened? I tried to separate this out. So this was inserted inside like this. Okay, this was inserted like this, and then this part went inside this. It was inside this, and this part was inside this. Okay, so then I pulled it out. So you can just hold it like this, and you pull it out like this, so it will come out. Okay, so this is your protective net so that your hand does not touch the terminals. Okay, now there are four more screws over here. One, two, three, four. They basically allow the movement of these grids across each other. So I'll explain you the architecture first. See, from here you get the signal, right? So from here basically you get the signal. Okay, so there are two grids that are involved. One is this grid, okay, and another grid is this grid. Okay, if you can see it over here, this grid. Okay, now one is this grid, another is this grid. So this grid is having this terminal, and this lower grid is having this terminal. Now they should be very close to each other so that whenever a fly or a mosquito flies through it, then its wings should touch both the ends. So if you see an irregularity, then what you should do is you should move these grids across each other. So you should move them like this. So how do you do that? For that you have to take out these screws. So there were these small screws like this, they were over here. Okay, so due to this, what happened is now these grids can move relative to each other, but they will still not move because they are still held together using this kind of you can say holders, and similar holders are over here as well. So the way to do it is you remove these holders like this. um, Sorry, this one is coming this side. Okay, you first remove them like this. Okay, so now the grids are freely movable. Now don't move them using these smaller rods because you might bend them in the process. So hold them over here and then you move them relatively. So I'll try to move this. See, now the gap is increasing. Okay, I've moved it like this, so the gap is increasing. Now they are uniform. Now if you want this gap to be a little lesser, then the way to do it is just move them very close to each other, but ensure that they are not so close that there will be sparking between them. That should not happen. So they should be at a sufficient distance. Here the distance is very less, as you can see. Okay, so I'm just trying to have sufficient distance. That is sufficient. Okay, this much distance is sufficient. Then what you do is you bring them back, bring these guards back or these holders back. So I'm doing it now one by one. Okay, okay, and finally this one. Okay, these are done. Now these are on the lower side, so how will they be attached? So do one thing, remove this tray for collecting the dead bodies of insects. Remove it. Now just move it upside down. Okay, I've moved it upside down, and then finally you get an access to these. So oh my god, now once again you have this grid, so I need to remove this now. So the way to do it is just pull it from here, so it will come out of this hole and it will come out of this hole. So you just pull it out. It has to be done like this. Okay, so it came out, and automatically from here also it came out. Okay, now you have access to this. You can just apply it properly. Now it is not well applied here. I did not like it the way it is applied. I'll pull this out also. Hmm. And now I'll apply them again. Okay, let me do that. It takes a little time. Okay, same thing over here. Okay, I'll keep it like this. I'll flip it over back. Okay, now I'm properly applying it like this. Okay, there it goes. This one fell. Come on, come on. Uh-huh. Yes, there you go. Now you ensure that the gap is uniform everywhere. Relatively, okay, here still the gap is very low. I'm just going to move it a bit. Okay, this much is okay. Here the gap is too much. Okay, moving it like this. That's it. It is more than enough. Don't do too much of work. Once this is done, now see these three and these three are going to place them very much parallel to each other, so that whenever the fly goes through, then this is the only gap that is remaining, and the fly definitely gets killed. Okay, so this is how you set it. Now let me put it back into place, so that you know how I took it apart and all. So basic architecture is only this much. Okay, it is the game of these two grids. They are very close to each other, and the flies, when they enter like this, then when both the wings touch the different terminals, then there is short circuit, so current flows through their body and they unfortunately die. So it's a very brutal way of killing insects. Okay, now how do you do that? Now you do one thing. You ensure that this is properly placed like this. Okay, so the this is in place, and now you apply the smaller screws. So let me go with the smaller screws first. Let me screw these things in place. Okay, so this is the very first screw that I'm screwing in. Okay, this is in place. Again, ensure that everything is well aligned. Very nice. Now go for the other screw. Okay, then the third one. Keep an eye on the distance. Is that fine? Is it getting disturbed? No, it is well in place. Okay, and then the fourth one. So now your grids are fastened using these four screws and then these six clutches, you can say. Okay, and that's why they stay in place. Okay, now you first apply the protective grids. So just put the grid inside like this. So this is the protective grid. This can be a little challenging, but be a little patient and do that. Okay, this is done. Now you place these two inside. So that is a little challenging. I'll tell you how to do it. You hold it at these two places and then push. If it doesn't go, then push it through something like this. Maybe I'll hold something like this, and let me do that. Okay, same thing you do over here. You hold it like this. Okay, over here. Okay, and I'm just pushing it. Okay, so this is how that protective grade is also in place. Okay, well done. Now I'll flip it and put the other protective grade in place. Maybe before I close everything, I can clean this up. So I can clean this up a bit. Don't worry, it is not connected to current, so nothing will happen. Although I'm doing it with a damp cloth. Okay, I think everything is already clean. Good enough. Now we will put the other protective grid, but before we do that, put this tray in place. Okay, okay, it is in place. See, this tray is always it always comes out, so you cannot do much about it. It is always loose, you cannot do much. So you just have to place it like this and pray that it stays there. You cannot do much about it. And then you put this grid on top of it, the protective grid. So once again, the same drill. You use it like this. Okay, once again the same technique. Um this is a little challenging for me because this grid is not uniform, it is bent at a lot of places. So I'll have to orient them one by one from right to left. Okay, they are all in place now. And then finally, yes, they are all in place. And then finally, let us put this into place. And this also. Okay, now let us see. Okay, let that tray go away. It cannot be fitted. I can put that tray back like that after that, and that is why, when the tray comes out, it can be cleaned. Now here the connections should be like this, huh? So do not disturb the connections. These two lights are given, so these two lights should go over here like this, like this. Okay, so these two lights should be visible to people, so that's why they have to go like this. And then you just close it. Oh, these lights are just not going. Okay, now while closing this, put both these lights into this one place so that they stay there in place, and then you just put it back like this. Okay, now what do? You just put some screws into these holes and just insert one screw in place, and then everything will be uh, tied up well. So just start with one screw at a time. See, as I'm screwing it, it is going closer. Then the other screw. Okay, check the first screw again. Yes. Okay, good. Then the third screw, and then the fourth screw. Okay. Now the other side. Same drill. Now I have put the screws already in place. I can remove them. Place it in place properly. Yeah, so this curved surface is at the top and this is at the bottom. Mhm. Putting the screws in place. Okay, so this is how you basically put everything in place, and finally you put this tray inside just like this. Okay, you can always take this tray out and you can clean it and then you can place it back like this. Of course you have to keep it like this. Okay, now if you really want to hang this, then the way to do it is you can use this kind of a chain which comes with it, by the way, and you can apply the chain over here. Okay, so here you can screw in the chain using these small uh, screws, and on the other side also you do the same. So this is how you can hang it. So this was the long and short of it. Oops, my bad. So this is how the fitting is, and it is not coming apart now. So this is how it should be fitted. If you have any doubts, feel free to leave a comment. I'll help you out. Until next time, Jai Shri Ram. ये है अमित शिरासाव, अमित शिरासाव, अमित शिरासाव, अमित शिरासाव.